Welcome to Art Slice, a different dive into art and art history. We goof around, we curse, you'll learn from it, but don't expect a typical lecture. You're welcome.
Also, subscribe.
It's up there. Is it up there?
Subscribe.
Just subscribe. Do it.
And click the bell.
Thanks. Hello, gentle patrons. Thank you for being here. As always, we cannot make Art Slice without your support.
And we wanted to do something a little extra special, a little special
Yeah.
for you all to send, to say bon voyage to 2022, a mixed year at best.
Good fucking bye.
And hope that 2023 is better. It's probably not going to be, spoiler alerts, who knows, cross your fingers, probably going to get worse. Probably going to get a little worse. Yeah, so we are here with our very first video episode.
Yes.
Yeah, as
Welcome.
you can see our faces for the first time, maybe.
And we are covering the Great Surrealist Paint-Off, also known as the Bellamy International Art Competition.
Mostly known as the Bellamy.
Pretty much. Yeah, which we discovered while researching for Dorothea Tanning.
Right.
I like our title better.
You like our title a little bit better? Okay.
Because there will be judging involved.
We will be doing some judging.
As per usual, though.
Yeah.
Really.
A little bit judgy.
But if you're anything like us, you might disagree with who we pick as the winner or who was picked historically as
the historical winner.
as the winner.
Yeah.
So let us know who you would have picked in the comments.
And just a quick aside, we had some issues with the program we used, Riverside, which is why Stephanie may seem like she's dubbed at times. She might seem like she's a character in a 1960s Godzilla film. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But we hope you enjoy it. We're just gonna cut right over to what we're here.
Got a lot of textures.
Let's touch hands.
Got a lot of textures.
I don't know if this is even shown up in the.
That showed up.
We also coordinated our outfits today for you.
We did. Russell
Specifically.
copied me.
No.
As per usual.
All right, Stephanie, set the stage for us here. What are we feeling? What are we seeing? What are we tasting?
All right. First of all, we are squinting because of the sunshine. We are tasting the musk of lots of sweaty men in woolen three-piece
Oh,
suits.
God, no.
Because, yes, because we are in Hollywood. It's the mid-1940s, and the now figurehead of Surrealism, much to the chagrin of André Breton, is Salvador Dali.
I don't want a fascist in my club. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Breton's in America now. Like, he has to deal with fascism and people who are, playing footsie with fascists.
Get over it, Breton.
Yeah,
we have freedom of speech here.
Yeah,
okay?
we got some freedom of speech,
We're
we have a lot of trolls. We have a lot of footsie fascist trolls. It's great. We love it here. If you don't like it, leave. I wish I could. Anyway, I wish they'd let me.
They make it so hard to leave. Okay, so right.
I wish it was that easy.
Right. Okay. So Dali is having his Hollywood moment. Okay, he did have one in case you were wondering. And he's working with Alfred Hitchcock for a layout and the design of a pivotal dream sequence in the movie Spellbound.
That does sound great, Stephanie. You did say Alfred Hitchcock, which sounds a lot like ham hock. So
Hitchcock?
Hitchcock.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just uncomfortable saying cock. Okay?
It's okay. Yeah, especially when you're on camera.
Hitchcock.
Oh, hey-oh.
Oh my God!
Listeners, we're gonna be a little weird because usually, we are very aware there are cameras on us, and I don't it's strange. We'll get used to it. I promise. That's why this is a Patreon episode. Sorry, patrons, you're a little test subjects.
Also, don't you want to see this behind the scenes awkwardness?
A lot of this gets cut. So the sequence is nice, but it's too jarringly Dali. It's like when they put like product placements in films, where the Pepsi logo is perfectly centered in Mac and Me.
The dance sequence is at McDonald's.
Dali, he was even talking to Walt Disney and other fascists about what would become, I think it's called Destino, a short animation that Disney initially decided not to release. But I think it was like 20-ish years ago, they ended up releasing it. They ended up finishing it and releasing it. It's very Dali. Very Dali.
And Disney.
Yeah.
No? Both?
More Dali. Yeah.
All right.
And kind of anime now that they've redone it 20 years ago to kind of keep up with the kids.
I'm very interested to see what that looks like.
The kids love their animes.
Okay. All right. So, as World War II is wrapping up,
Dragon Ball Z's.
people's eyes have once again been open to the horror and suffering caused by war. And surrealism is now on the verge of becoming mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Gross. Just kidding. So generally films like Hitchcock's, they confront difficult subject matter and they become more and more commonplace. One such film was Albert Lewin's 1945's adaptation of Oscar Wilde's novel, Picture of Dorian Gray, which many of you have probably heard of, but if not, just know that it has a painting that is central to the entire story.
Yeah, it was a talkie that was originally in black and white, except for the infamous painting. When it appeared on camera, they spliced in some technicolor, so that the most famous grotesque painting in the film could jar people in the audience and, make them eat popcorn or snuggle up to their date or whatever.
Right. So the movie was a hit. And to this day, it still has a positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. And the director, Albert Lewin, thought, hey, people love that. So why mess with the recipe? So he's like, I'm going to do the exact same thing for my next movie. But this time, I'm going to choose a much lesser known book. And instead of just commissioning a painting from an indie artist that was recommended to me, maybe, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to hold a whole ass competition, and the artist winner will be featured in the film in glorious technicolor. And maybe I'll make their career. We'll see. Who knows? I have that power, he said, in my mind. So the movie would be named The Private Affairs of Bel-Ami, a sexier title for the 1885 novel Bel-Ami by Guy de Maupassant.
Guy Muffin Pants. Guy of Muffin Pants.
You can make muffins with ghee, right? Unrelated. Feeling bready. Okay, so... All right, so of course there is a sexier movie poster as part of the promo stating the history of the scoundrel with a young woman, a young Angela Lansbury, actually.
What?
Clinging onto the pinstripe pants of the main character.
Murder, She Wrote? Angela Lansbury?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very young.
All right.
And she's
I see it. Oh,
pinstripe clinging is what's happening, and her bare shoulder is exposed.
Spoiler alert, we tried to watch this. We tried to watch it on YouTube. It is a snoozer.
Yeah.
The movie did not recapture that picture of Dorian Gray magic. I don't think it was just our 21st century ADHD. Okay, it was just like this was not liked at the time of its release either.
Right. But if you want to give it a try, it's available on YouTube in 7 parts thanks to user Wobble108.
Shout out. Shout out Wobble 108. As far as we can tell, the protagonist is a toxic pickup artist who, to quote the New York Times 1947 review, is a, quote, scoundrel, but what a monotonous prig. Prig, I had to look this up. It basically means Puritan. So a boring Puritan scoundrel, which is kind of what we deal with today everywhere.
Okay.
Who offers up negging gems like love and marriage are 2 entirely different subjects, end quote. Basically, he uses his sexual prowess, you can see it here, in the pant leg, I guess. He kind of looks like Vincent Price, so I'm not really sure how that's working out for him. Anyway, his wealth and excess. He uses his prowess, his wealth and excess to climb the Parisian social ladder, which, like all dirtbags, includes collecting art for far less than it's worth so that you can make a profit on it one day.
So this movie's doomed, okay? But no one knows this yet. Obviously, we have the gift of hindsight. And the artists that will participate in said competition also don't know yet. They could also definitely use this money.
Okay.
So back to the competition. It would aptly be named the Bel-Ami International Art Competition.
Okay.
And you couldn't just sign up if you were wondering. There was no list. Okay. You had to be specially invited. And 12 artists were, including the artist that was in the original Picture of Dorian Gray movie.
He painted the picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, which is kind of a slap in the face to him. It's more fun to make the starving artist dance for the Benjamins, I guess.
Okay.
But anyway, since surrealists were all the rage, most of the artists invited were, in fact, surrealists.
Yeah, and you think the original painter starts seeing the list, the roster of artists that are going to be on it, and he's like, I don't know how I fit in with this. I'm not a surrealist. Like, what's going on here?
True, but also each artist would get $500 for participating. And an additional $2,500 if they were the winner.
And I looked this up, listeners. Don't worry.
Of course.
$500 in today's money is $8,000.
Fuck.
And $49,000 for winning the competition.
Oh my God.
Which is like a year's salary which way more than a year's salary for a lot of people. But that's still pretty good. And money, I think, bought more back then because houses were like $200. Yeah, these artists wanted to compete in this. They were happy to compete.
Sure. Slap together a painting real quick, call it a day.
Right.
But the artists would be given a very specific assignment, and they would be judged on aesthetic quality, along with how they interpreted the assignment. And, of course, there would be a panel of judges to ultimately decide the winning artist. All right, let's meet our judges. Okay, so this director, Albert Lewin, also never heard of him before now.
Right.
He must have really been in the know or known someone in the know.
Right.
Because the panel consisted of Marcel Duchamp, Marcel, famous chess player and art consultant, OG Dadaist, and Maria Martin's boy toy. Then we have Alfred H. Barr, the first director of the Museum of Modern Art, the MoMA, in New York City, who curated several influential shows in his career, including Fantastic Art, Dada, and Surrealism, which we just covered in Dorothea's episode. Mm-hmm. He also gave a big show to Diego Rivera and one to Charles Birchfield as well, just to name a few that we've covered on the show.
Also, this is the first time I've seen his face. This is not what I was picturing at all.
He's quite bookish.
Yeah.
Quite bookish. I like it.
I would cast him in a movie.
He's approachable. He's approachable.
Yeah.
So his groundbreaking shows helped shape the way that modern art was viewed back then, and it's the way that we remember it now. So he's the second judge. Last judge is Sidney Janis. Never heard of him, but he was an art collector and a gallery owner in New York City, who promoted the abstract expressionists as well as pop art. Alfred H. Barr actually once said of him that he was, quote, the most brilliant New Dealer in terms of business acumen to have appeared in New York since the war.
And this is his Oscar photo, his Oscar headshot.
His headshot. Yeah. I don't know. Seems like a nice guy. I'm always down for an advocate of art, obviously. When he died, he bequeathed his huge-ass collection of art to the MoMA. These judges also knew each other, and it seems like what they have in common is that they are definitely advocates for up-and-coming artists and new movements, showing the public that hates, don't be afraid of this work. It's worth something.
But we're the judges this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just forget about these people. On to our first contestant, Ivan Albright. Albright is a returning champion of sorts. He was the man behind the titular picture for the director's name, who I forgot, picture of Dorian Gray. Ivan is not considered a surrealist. He didn't hang out in those surrealist circles like Remedios Varo. He is considered a magical realist. The big defining difference between the two being that surrealism will introduce the weirdness through certain sublimity or randomness without a meaning tethered to it necessarily. Whereas magical realism may be just as weird, but within that magical reality, there is an explanation for that weirdness.
Love it.
Ivan was a prominent name in American art circles from the 30s to 40s, but like most representational artists, he was kind of forgotten about amidst the abstraction craze of the 1950s. I guess we were not familiar with Albright's work at all, but definitely very happy to be introduced to him. Ivan's father was actually a commercially successful artist, and Ivan really pushed against that, as you can see. People are not going to be lining up to get family portraits from Ivan. These are densely painted portraits of people in what can only be described as slow and painful gradual declines into the grave. Like dying of petty excesses too, like not something tragic. It's all self-inflicted. Like decades of breakfast gin fizzies and Quaaludes, okay? Which is why this lady looks exactly like Boris Johnson.
Just some serious, unflattering shadows.
God damn. I've never seen this person's work. Obviously, I'm in love. I love the low contrast. I love the unflattering shadows. I love the darkness. I love the thick, disgusting paint. I love it. I love it. I don't know how he escaped being mentioned in the art history canon. I really don't. These portraits are incredible.
Yeah, the little Tremblay looking still lifes though.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like a dark Lucian Freud or something. He's amazing.
Yes, and might I throw in psychedelic?
A little bit psychedelic too.
At times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, second contestant, we have Eugene Berman. And I see Russell is being cute, and he replaced Eugene Berman's headshot with Eugene Merman's.
Eugene Berman, yeah.
Voice of, oh my God. Gene Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, Bob's Burgers.
All right, so Berman,
not Merman,
fled the Russian Revolution in 1918 to Paris.
Already don't like it. He sounds like he's kind of simping for czars.
Okay.
You know?
All right, well, Eugene Berman is actually better known for his collaboration with his brother Leonid. They were known as the Berman Brothers, and they worked the B-Bros.
The B-Bros.
They worked together on stage for designing of ballets and opera sets. They were known to be very Baroque in their design. But they were also known as neo-romantic, basically new romantic painters with some surrealist influences.
So yeah, a little surrealist zest, all right? Eugene's work is well done. It is highly, highly, highly illustrative. These feel like they are maybe like covers of fantasy novels, which, you know, I don't really mean that despairingly. It might seem like I do. It is a very serious skill to master, but honestly, the sampling we have here, all of the work is a little bit overkill for my tastes. Like, they are very Max Ernst or even Ivan Albright in their level of overloaded detail, but they never pull back and kind of like wow you, like with a bizarre, unexpected color or a bizarre, like, spatial thing that's happening. It's all kind of just like...
Nothing stands out. It's all kind of like the same amount of noise, same amount of color, same amount of everything.
Right.
So, like, nothing stands out. But that being said, I think that might be on purpose. If he's used to making stage sets, you don't want the stage to stand out too much. It's the actors.
This would be distracting for a stage set, though. Like, you'd just be staring at the stage set.
Okay, I don't know. I was trying to throw him a bone. Maybe you're right. But
it's good work. It's good work. Don't get it twisted. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Craft-wise, absolutely. And that's all. I mean, you're describing romanticism, basically. Just very grand and romantic. Absolutely. Right. I really like it. Personally.
Yeah. No, they're good work. There's some good works in here.
I think it's a fantasy element for me. As in, like, imaginative out of a book, not a sci-fi book. Contestant number 3. We have our favorite old classic, Leonora Carrington. Okay. Hyena Queen. At this time, she is well settled in Mexico, and this is the same year that she would go on to make The House Opposite, which we covered in episodes 5 and 7.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, this is an interesting time for Elsie. The House Opposite was kind of one of those early paintings where you can see she is gradually changing her style a bit, looking a little bit less indebted to the Paris Surrealists and maybe more influenced by, honestly, artists like Giotto. Things are breathing more. There are more competing paint movements, like translucency versus opacity, more experimentation with mixed mediums, and she is really coming into something that is more her own.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And this is the start of my favorite time period of Elsie's work as well. We will have to see if her painting lives up to that description, though.
Ooh. Little teaser.
Yeah. Contestant numero 4. All right. So another artist that probably doesn't need an introduction, Salvador Dali, your fave, Russell. You could ask anyone on the street to name 3 artists, and one of them would absolutely, probably, almost certainly be Salvador Dali. All the traits you love, that Renaissance technical skill with over-the-top imagery. Whoa, whoa, look out.
Look out, yeah. This is about the time Dali would enter his nuclear mysticism phase, he called it, where he doubled down on his technical prowess. And he allegedly started to meld ideas of the unconscious with the scientific. You know, it's no surprise here for longtime listeners of Art Slice, I'm not a fan of one Salvador Dali. I don't know exactly what to pin my general dislike of Dali on. There are a lot of things I could choose from. One thing, at minimum, he was fascist curious. He's oversaturated in our visual culture, and he got insufferable. As he aged, he just became more and more insufferable. Also, the mustache. I also think in his work, he leaves no room for feeling, no room for openness. Almost like Eugene Berman, he just keeps hitting you over the head with things after symbols after things after symbols, and you never really have a chance to really digest it. It's just like he's flexing. He's like, look at this muscle, look at this muscle, and look at this muscle.
Facts.
And I just I get over it so quickly. Some of them I like this one I like, but I don't know. That one's a little bit more pulled back.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much.
So we're going to move on
Right.
to contestant number 5. We have Paul Delvaux.
Delvaux.
Okay.
Paul Delvaux, like René Magritte, he was a Belgian painter loosely linked to the Surrealists. He was also a huge fan of Daddy de Chirico, once again, as you can see from all of these train pictures. With Daddy de Chirico, I realized what was possible. The climate that had to be developed, the climate of the silent streets with the shadows of people who can't be seen, ... end quote. And what can be seen are a lot of naked ladies.
Yes.
A lot of naked ladies. Despite the naked ladies, like I do think these paintings are pretty interesting. They're very similar to Magritte. Definitely, once again, see the daddy influence in the way that they handle the paints. But they lead you more than those two artists do.
No, there's something interesting, and I want to keep looking, but there is also that sense of dread, not just because of the topless ladies near a bunch of like iron and metal.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just a really hot night. You know, they're trying to cool off. Maybe we're being a little too judgy.
You're right.
Free the nip.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I should not be a prig. Thank you.
Yeah, you're being a prig.
I'm being a prig.
Don't be a prig.
I should not be a prig. Pew, pew. Okay. All right. Moving on to contestant number 6.
Contestant number 6 and reoccurring character on Art Slice. He wears a matching fur coat with Marcel Duchamp. He was a founding Dada of Daddy and Surrealism. Daddy, Dada, okay. He would read Freud to André Breton as a little bedtime story. He was a former lover of Leonor Fini, Leonora Carrington, the former trophy husband of Peggy Guggenheim, now the life partner of Dorothea Tanning. What can I say? He got around. And stealer of ugly mop dogs everywhere, Max Ernst.
I totally see why you said that Eugene Berman's work was very similar in detail.
Max went through a lot of different phases. He had a long career. I mean, what can you say about the guy? He makes incredibly detailed and complex paintings that it feels like they should be a little bit too much. Like they're veering towards, once again, that 70s heavy metal magazine cover artwork, right? But then he does know how to pull it back, unlike Berman, I think. And it really lets the work breathe. Like right now, that red next to that blue, it's just like a shape with that. What is that? Like decalcomania or something?
Decalcomania,
yeah. And it really, it flattens the space and it really opens it up to the more illusionary space. So he also avoids becoming cliche, like I think Dali does. He's always an artist I feel like I wouldn't be into normally, but every time I find his work, I find something I really like about it.
That's funny because I'm like the opposite. I was kind of like, but he's grown on me. Grown on me. Like I stayed away from him, his work, obviously not the ghost of Max Ernst. I stayed away from him at the Guggenheim because there's always a huge crowd of people around his work. And
that's his best painting though, the one at the Guggenheim.
Yeah, I can see why. I can see why people are crazy about it, and it's just a bit much. It's just in my nature to stay away from the crowd, you know. But I can definitely see though why that is one of his best known paintings, and I think he's definitely gonna be a strong contestant. All right, contestant number 7. We would have had Leonor Fini. Okay, Leonor Fini, who makes these beautiful but unnerving dollhouse-looking surrealist works with women in these positions of power. Dommy, I'm not even going to say almost, definitely Dommy. She buckled against the surrealist idea of the femme enfant.
And made them pay for it. With her domminess. There's also a ton of space in her work, which adds to that creepy vibe, right? That beautiful color. I just love Leonor Fini's work so much. She's definitely a very strong contestant, and I can see her walking away with this prize very easily, Stephanie.
None of this matters because she turned it down.
She was too good for it.
She said no. She walked away.
Right.
Walked away. She's
I don't need the money.
I have too many cats. I have too many lovers.
Got too many lovers.
I have a life. Okay.
They make the money for me. I'm a financial dom.
Also, I don't want to paint the saint I've never heard of.
Right.
I want to paint a male saint. Gross. Just kidding. Don't know about any of that. All we know, we're speculating. She walked away. She said, no, thank you. No gracias. Picture the SpongeBob conch toy with a... No, okay. Contestant number 8, we have Osvaldo Louis Guglielmi.
He was born in Egypt. He immigrated with his father from Milan, Italy to New York City. He was greatly impacted by the Great Depression and began to work for the WPA in the 1930s, where his work shifted to the struggles of everyday people, a lot like Diego Rivera, often offering up communism as this like potential solution to the inequality that would kill people every day. Like he was watching all these people die. He also became influenced by the Surrealists, saying that it was the best way to speak of the decaying society in which we lived, to paraphrase him. He was also one of 3 American artists who were known as the social surrealists, which fused Depression-era social realism with surrealism. He changed his style frequently through the years. He would make work kind of intermittently, and he also died relatively young, I think in his mid-50s. Oh. So there isn't really like a huge sample size of his work, and it does, like I said, change quite frequently. But this period of time in his work, he almost has like kind of a regionalistic look to his work, but it's weirder, it's dreamier, so you do kind of see that surrealist influence.
Contestant number 9, we have Horace Pippin, who deserves an episode all on his own. He has such a unique story and makes some really haunting work. Horace is the only artist on this roster who, first of all, is a person of color. Second of all, is completely untrained. So not even untraditionally trained like Dorothea Tanning or Max Ernst. He's also not aligned with the Surrealists at all.
Yeah, Horace's right arm was injured in World War I. Well, he was actually a fighter in the famous Harlem Hellfighters or the Black Rattlers, okay? And while he had always had like an interest in art, even from an early age, it wasn't until after the war that he began to paint to help kind of rehabilitate his arm. So since his arm was injured, he would use his left arm to prop it up and help him paint his paintings, which just kind of lends a nice quality to his work, a little bit of an outsider artist quality. Art schools at this time probably wouldn't have accepted Horace into an art school. Maybe even today, he wouldn't get accepted into a lot of art schools because of the sort of weird quality to his work. But to me, like his works totally work. Like the mood, the content, the color, just how imaginative they are, and the quality of them. It's one of those things that you know kind of intuitively by just looking at them that, you know, this is actually really high quality work.
Definitely. And we may never have known about Horace at all if Alfred H. Barr had not discovered his paintings.
Right. He was interested in giving these artists that were, you know, different from the art history canon a platform. And I think like obviously art history is better for Mr. Barr.
And artists like Pippin, though, because if artists like Horace Pippin weren't around, then Alfred H. Barr would have nothing to show.
That's true. Very true. Next contestant. What number are we on, Steph?
10.
Albert Rattner. Abraham Rattner, another artist who does not fit in cleanly with these other more true surrealists. Abraham lived in Paris after World War I, trying on different kind of artist hats, you know. His work reminds us a little bit of a combination of like maybe a little bit of Edvard Munch and the German expressionist Max Beckmann, although more flat, a little bit more cubist, a little bit more almost like stained glass window. This is definitely not my favorite type of work. I think he's holding on to a little too much of that cubism. It almost looks like if Vasily Kandinsky decided to stay figurative. Like I think the black lines kind of bring his work down a little bit for me. Like they just keep it really flat. I wish he'd kind of
and heavy.
Yeah, fluctuate away from that a bit. It's that way when it did show up, it would be more powerful. But he, you know, we said stained glass. He has a stunning synagogue stained glass installation that is just beautiful.
Yes.
He would have been better served doing more work like this.
Contestant number 11. We have Stanley Spencer. Again, not a surrealist. He is another artist who needs his own full episode to unpack his history and his work. He's a very, very talented painter. Stanley's probably most well known for his Sandham Memorial Chapel paintings. or his shipbuilding on the Clyde murals.
Very Diego-esque in his level of detail and kind of multitude of figures interacting with one another.
Yeah.
He was also incredibly religious, sort of. His series of Jesus, listeners. His series of Jesus. Okay. We do not have time for it. Maybe we'll be able to work it into we'll be able to work it into a second slice one day. So he was religious, but also very horny. Okay, so he painted a lot of naked folks, and he left his wife for a woman who he was enamored with and who he wanted to paint in the nude, which he did. He went on to do that, but he also it was a weird situation where she seems totally not jazzed, and so he injects his own nude self-portrait into the composition, but it's kind of like in a different space, like it's kind of collaged into it.
Really awkward.
Very disjointed. The whole problem there was that she was not into men. She liked ladies, and they never actually lived together. They just kind of, that's all. That was it. She wasn't into. She wasn't into it. So these paintings are maybe more surreal than what Stanley was aware of.
Yeah, not by choice. Talented painter though. Contestant number 12, and finally we have Dorothea Tanning, who we just lost 2 months of our lives to, and who we covered for a full-ass episode and a half. So there is not really much else we can say about her.
Go listen to those.
Please.
Go listen to the second slice. Go listen to the full episode. There's a lot on her from us specifically.
If you need an intro,
yeah,
there you go. All right. So back to the competition, there were rules. You couldn't just submit whatever you wanted. So first of all, the painting should be about 36 by 48 inches so that it could fit into the scene. It had to be about St. Anthony, not just St. Anthony, the temptation of St. Anthony.
Okay.
Maybe that's some analogy for Mr. Bellamy.
Okay.
Somehow.
He's tempted by all those loose women throwing themselves at him.
Foreshadow.
Yeah.
So what's so interesting about this assignment is that there's actually a pretty rich history of depictions of Sant'Antonio in Art Historio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Took me a second. Art Historio. Okay.
Made it up. All right. So we know all about the artists in the competition. We know the judges. We have a vague idea about the movie. But who is St. Anthony?
Who?
Okay. Anthony the Great, not to be confused with St. Anthony of Padua, two different saints, okay?
Sure.
Anthony was born a rich boy in the year 251 post BBJ in Coma. Yeah. In Coma, Egypt, to wealthy landowner parents. When they died, he was young, like he couldn't buy cigarettes or drink, at least in America. Okay. But it was just him and his unwed sister, older sister, and being the only male, it's likely that he inherited everything. And then one day he felt inspired by a passage.
Well, I mean, it was a religious like Facebook meme that he saw. So, like a religious Shiba Inu Facebook meme that a boomer makes, not quite understanding the whole context, the whole background.
Or someone made it ironically. I could see a little bit of both.
No.
Okay. All right. So the passage that so inspired Anthony was Matthew 19:21. Quote, "If you want to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasures in heaven." End quote.
Okay.
True story. Look it up. And he did just that. Okay, St. Anthony, well, I guess he's not a saint yet. Anthony gave away some land to his neighbors. He sold what was left. He donated the funds to the poor. But what about his sister? What about his sister, you might be wondering? Well, he gave her away to, quote, Christian virgins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like a Cinemax film I don't want to watch.
All right, so we're going to talk about a little bit of those depictions throughout our history, and we're starting with this one.
Okay.
Artist unknown, St. Anthony and the Lobster Devil, circa 1470. Illustration is part of the Golden Legend by Jacobus de Voragine.
Oh my God.
Started in 1228. So we got some medieval goodness here. Getting some like Giotto deja vu. So we got a wonky landscape We have some hills. We have some cliffs. We have some trees. They're all collapsing in on the figures in the foreground.
I noticed you're not talking about the demon tongue penises, tail penises.
I wasn't there yet.
Okay. Didn't want you to just brush on by that.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I don't think I was going to.
Okay.
So thank you. So we have some truly terrifying demons with second faces in their abdomens, and their tongues are probably also doubling as their penises. Yeah. One of the demons is dancing on St. Anthony, like very sassily, like, hey, hey.
He really is, yeah.
Others
His tummy seems to be asleep, though, so.
A sleepy tummy, yes. Others are poking St. Anthony with golden skewers, and we can tell who St. Anthony is because he has that distinguishing medieval halo. I don't know if you want to tell me a little bit more about some things that caught your eye.
Yeah, I just airdropped you.
Yeah, you do. Oh,
turn the volume way up.
I'm scared.
Why would you be scared?
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Do you like the skateboarding and the snowboarding?
I was... that was great. I'm gonna be thinking about that probably for the rest of the day.
Did you get it was the Rock Lobster song?
Yeah.
By Bosch. Covered by Bosch. Were you expecting the lobster on the snowboard?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. The said lobster with golden hairs on its buttocks, by the way. We didn't mention that.
Okay.
Next up, we have St. Anthony Beaten by the Devils by Stefano di Giovanni, circa 1430 to 32. We don't know what dimensions or what media this is. It's probably tempera on panel. Let's talk about this guy. So if you didn't notice the halo on St. Anthony, we can identify him by the T-cross, which looks like a cane to me. We also have some demons with bats whacking St. Anthony, but then there's another demon with two snakes. Okay, and they seem to have some kind of flames coming out of their bodies.
He's whacking him with snakes. Two of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Petrified snakes.
They're grabbing St. Anthony's hair, I see.
Yeah.
So he looks bald to me, so I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I don't know where that hair is coming from.
Okay.
Don't know.
It's bald with a ponytail.
And he's got a side ponytail.
I like how he's just looking straight at us. Do you see this shit?
Help me.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like he is really missing an opportunity to stick that cane into one of the demon's flaming orifices.
Yeah, the face butts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a smiley face on one of the
medieval people
demon's
were
buttocks.
very obsessed with butts, huh?
A lot of butts and a lot of whacking. This is what's going on here. Everything's really nicely rendered. Still kind of that wonky medieval landscape. St. Anthony's still getting his butt kicked here.
Getting his comeuppance, yeah.
All right, moving right along. So we have here Temptation of St. Anthony Abbot by Master of Osservanza, Master of Observance. It is from circa 1435, and we have tempera and gold on panel. So I've never heard of this painter before, but I'm really digging his work. I really dig the fisheye perspective of the landscape, which is full of trees. And then a little closer to us, we have some sandy-looking hills that look like, honestly, like they're in landslide danger.
Mm.
And then we have a little structure. It's kind of reddish, terracotta, salmon-colored, medieval wonky. Think of Giotto's buildings.
Yeah, the window's up too high. It's very strange, the placement of that window. That's not an egress window.
No. No, it's not. Like it's a little wonky. It's charming. It's charming. So St. Anthony's outside. He's making his way in, and then there's someone like, "You better not go in there. You better not go in there." Like arms crossed. "You better not go in there." And he's just like, "Shut the fuck up. Get away from me." The hand's like, "Please, please, miss, please."
I'm walking very slowly to my home barefoot.
Right. So originally I thought this figure is a female figure. I thought she was an angel, but upon closer inspection, I noticed that the wings are like little dragon wings.
Right. And she's got a slit in her dress, which I don't think an angel would have.
Oh, you're right.
It's too alluring.
Definitely a temptress.
Right.
A hallucinatory temptress.
That's a lot of leg. That's a lot of leg thigh.
Got some hip in there. So St. Anthony's got that halo. We know who's who. He's got that T-shaped cross, and he's just trying to run away into the overpriced condo. All right. Next, we have another work by the Master of Observance. St. Anthony Abbot tempted by a heap of gold from circa 1435.
Okay.
Also tempera and gold on panel. All right. So we still have that fisheye perspective in the background. We have like a desert, hilly background. We have a coral pink church with a steeple, and it's partially obscured by the swirly sandy hill.
Is that the same church?
Yes.
That's the same church that he was entering? He was entering the foyer of that church in the previous painting.
Don't know.
Same color.
But you know what?
Same non-egress windows.
That makes sense. He would be running to the church to flee the hallucinations.
Right.
That's a good point.
Of course.
So it looks like now he's ventured away from the church, and again he's being tempted. So he's on this path coming towards us, and we have St. Anthony in the foreground, and he's looking down like, legit. That's the look.
His little eyes are bugging out.
Very comical.
Yeah. Someone's squeezing him too hard.
So he's looking down. You follow his eyesight, and
capybara. Looking at a capybara, I would be too.
Oh, you're right.
It's like, what's that doing here?
It looks like a mini capybara. Yes. But
his eyesight's bad, so he had to, go a little bit forward.
So he's looking down at what you would think would be that furry animal. However, if you look really close and if you squint your eyes, you can see like a faint outline of where the pile of gold reference in the title used to be. So it was scraped off at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually, I think this is hilarious.
Sticky fingers. Someone had sticky gold paws. Next,
we have St. Anthony Tormented by Demons by Martin Schongauer. It is an engraving from 1470 to 74.
Okay.
There is no distinguishing halo, which is interesting. But we do have a tear or an anime sweat bead and a resigned expression as a mob of demons attacks him with their bare claws or with sticks. So Schongauer depicted these imagined creatures with like such amazing detail, and partially it's because of the engraving. This is a print, so he was able to get that crazy amount of detail, which makes the monsters super realistic. Like he's on point with the textures of the demons and their anatomy and that righteous butthole.
It is inflamed, which St. Anthony apparently is the patron saint of skin conditions.
Oh, I that's past the skin condition.
That's part of your skin.
I guess so.
At least the exterior. Maybe that's why they're coming after him. Like, hey, I need help.
Heal me. Oh my God. Okay. That was my demon voice. All right. So that being said, this kind of shit, this freaky detail, plus his talent, obviously Martin Schongauer, artist, is very talented, and this made for some fantastical fucking work, which made him one of the most influential artists in printmaking ever. So not only did he inspire fellow German printmaker Albert Dürer, aka German Jesus, but he also inspired a certain young Italian artist 700 miles away.
Okay.
Which brings us to our next St. Anthony depiction. We have...
Same painting. Oh, go on.
So we have The Torment of St. Anthony by Michelangelo Buonarroti.
Let's get some fan art.
So, actually. Circa 1487, 1488. It's oil and tempera on panel. Little Michelangelo was inspired by old Martin. Okay, you can say that Michelangelo brought technicolor to Martin's original vision. Okay, and Yeah, so I suddenly see that righteous butthole now. It's in color. And I notice that there are eyes and whiskers.
It is less detailed, though, which I do appreciate.
I gotta...
Okay, I'm not even gonna get
Don't
into
look at it.
Okay.
Don't look at it.
I can't look away from it now. Especially now it's in color.
It has eyes. It has eyes. He brought Technicolor to the vision, but he also brought out, or he added some new things. So he added a landscape at the bottom, which is the Arno River Valley, which is where Florence is located. He also added fish scales to one of the demons, the one on the top left. There's a story out there saying that he went down to the fish market to study said fish scales for the painting. So this is actually the earliest known painting by Michelangelo.
Oh, wow.
He was about 20. He was about 12 or 13 years old. And it goes without saying that the technical skill and imagination is, I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I guess your kid could have painted this if you only have that to do. If you are only learning how to paint.
If that's all you're doing all day, yes.
Yeah.
A kid could do that.
Maybe. This is also only one of 4 surviving paintings because, you know, he became a sculptor and all that. Later in life, he actually shit-talked oil painting. It's really funny. Yeah.
Michelangelo.
He's like, it's a bit fussy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
it is a
not
little
what
bit
he
fussy. Yeah.
Fussier than marble.
Way fussier than marble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less physical, but more fussy for sure.
No, that was me being sarcastic.
Oh.
Yeah. I would think marble would be so much more fussy.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't done that, so I can't speak to that. But anyway, I have a little quick side-by-side here. Really impressive.
I prefer the print.
The print?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Sorry, Michelangelo.
I prefer my buttholes in black and white.
One.
Next. Okay, so next we have Hieronymus Bosch.
Of course.
We've all heard of him.
Sure.
From the 15th century. So he has several Temptation of St. Anthony works. Okay, so we're just going to breeze by a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this one called the Hermit Saints. So it's St. Anthony on the left and then 2 other saints, which I don't remember. There's a lot going on, even in just that one side panel.
Yeah.
We have like a nun's head on the ground, and there is some kind of animal maneuvering the said nun's head. And all kinds of like little creatures, even like next to that one, that are just like fucking.
The nun
like,
has feet.
Fuck?
Does she have feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what's under that habit. It's
all
just
right.
like a set of feet.
Just feet and a head.
All right. So next one is, this is actually the Temptation of St. Anthony. So this is a whole ass triptych just about St. Anthony's temptations. So it's very colorful. And we have like a blue sky. There's a lot of reds. There's a lot of terracottas. There's a lot going on. There's stuff in the sky, more buildings burning. Of course, we have butts. We have even weirder creatures. Like you have like a fish with hands and it's like hollowed out and there's like a human inside of it, of course.
Submarine.
Just
submarine.
very imaginative. It's like super meta. So just a few highlights from that one. But the one we're going to talk about is this third Bosch, The Temptations of St. Anthony from 1510 to 1515, oil on oak panel.
I see a pig there. It's patron saint of pigs.
Yes. So let's talk about it. So this one, before I get into it, I'm just going to preface this. So this one is attributed to Bosch. There have been some that have been, I don't say demoted, but like have been proven to not be by Bosch and by a follower. This one is said to be by Bosch, which personal opinion, I have a hard time with that. So we'll talk about it. So we have St. Anthony crouching, like his little hands are like this. He's in prayer. And
very bad posture.
Almost, yeah. He's almost in tears. Yeah, he's almost in the fetal position. And he's pleading with his eyes that this madness ends, right? So let's talk about the madness surrounding him.
Very serene.
There are, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Seems very quiet, very
especially
serene.
For Bosch.
But if you squint, y'all, if you squint a little harder, you can see what may be tormenting him.
Someone's like watering a tree.
Yes, you have a pitcher of water being emptied into the grass. Some little creatures are doing that. The little piggy that you described, Russell, he's about to get his head smashed in by some...
Oh, he is.
Some strange creature. I can't make out what it is other than it has arms and it has a mallet.
It's a castle body, but it's small.
There's somebody, castle body. There's somebody drowning right in front of him in this windy river that actually goes throughout the composition.
He is a fish person, though, this person. So
he's what?
Presumably he's pretty good there.
Forgive me. This does not seem like Bosch to me. Like, compared to the two we just talked about, which were earlier than this, where's the nun's head? I would feel like that'd be repeating. Also, no nudity. There is no nudity in this. Bosch was not here.
Well, I mean, maybe the patron who commissioned it wanted a little tamer work.
Facts.
Yeah.
That is true.
But you're right. It's missing. There are other things too. Like it doesn't really feel like there's not like those Bosch bodies, those like elongated Bosch bodies.
Right. And
Yeah.
also the color palette. This is very earth tone.
Smoother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so quiet. And in that way, I guess you could say it's more sinister.
I really like this. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I really like this painting a lot.
It's an interesting composition. I'll give you that. But it is not Bosch. Let's just rename it something else. That's all. That's my only issue.
Okay. Hot take.
Hot take. Yeah.
Stephanie without any sort of carbon dating or
Yeah. No. This is
any
just
sort of
me.
science backing her up.
It's just me and my observant.
Just the old eye test. The old Stephanie eye test.
It's a gift and a curse, Russell, to be
Yeah.
this observant.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm wearing the same shirt. I just put a flannel on because I was worried I was going to get cold. That's where we're at vis-a-vis my shirt.
All right.
Okay.
We'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Okay. Let's continue on our St. Anthony journey.
Listeners, on to the competition.
Le competition.
We are your judges on the great semi-surrealist bake-off, paint-off. What are we?
Paint off.
A paint-off.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Who's doing the English accents now? It's Stephanie. That's right.
Me.
I can't take all the heat.
No. Okay.
Let's go. Come on. What are we waiting for?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. Why? Why did you make
What?
me that guy?
What guy? I'm all of them except
wait,
for
are we-
yeah.
I thought
You thought you were what's his face? I'm forgetting
I
his
thought
name.
it was an amalgamation of both of us.
No. You're just Prude or whatever her name is. Peru.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this so much. Cool.
How do you like this more than the rock lobster? Anyway.
What?
So much time on the rock lobster video, and you're just like you giggled slightly at it. And this you're laughing big
Rock
time.
Lobster did not have you in a shag
All right.
wig. Okay.
All right.
I love it.
All right. Okay, listeners, we're going to get into these works. We're going to rank and judge them as we go using a tier maker, which, made us log into our defunct Twitter account. Not too happy about that. Guess they're not on the Mastodon train yet. Okay.
We're too cool. We're ahead of the curve.
We're so cool with our 4 followers. Actually, I don't think we have any followers. You can jump on this as well. We will provide a link and judge yourself. We would love to see it, and you do not need to log on to Twitter to do that. And share with us your rankings, okay? Because we want to see who you would choose as the winner.
We want to
see
know.
that.
Yeah. We care about your opinion.
Yeah.
All right. First up, Ivan Albright. We have a work here with the aptly titled The Temptation of St. Anthony, oil on canvas, and I'm like 99% sure all of the paintings we're discussing today from this point forward are named The Temptation of St. Anthony.
Checks out.
And they were all painted from 1945 to 1947.
Okay.
Okay, so back to this work. Don't know where to start.
You don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Throw like a something at it. Start there.
I'm getting like wrestling match with some pizza thrown in, a cheesy,
all the toppings,
a cheesy wrestling match. Yes,
magma, cheese, nipple tassels. There's like some geckos in here.
Yeah, there's some barking chihuahuas.
There's like what are those things you grab onto at the bouldering gyms? Oh my God. The colorful bouldering gyms.
The I don't know.
Fake rocks,
the plastic.
It's like no, nothing you climb in life has those.
They're like training wheels.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
But you know what? I said cheese, and the figures are purple. The hallucinations, the sexy females. I mean, you know what I mean. They're purple. So purple and cheese reminds me of Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
So this, to me, is like a nightmare version of Chuck E. Cheese where the robots are attacking you.
Yeah,
They've
I
all
can see
grown
that.
insane muscles, and they're going to attack you. So
It does look like, the middle of a ride at like Disney World and like the animatronics.
yeah, I'm
come after
getting
you,
like
yeah.
cave vibes.
You're in the magma river.
the magma
There's
river
an old
and
prospector. I'm not gonna do it. Okay. It's very, very hack.
So yeah, insane demons are pouring in.
Right.
Right? The Chihuahua form, gecko form. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Mhm.
A lot's going on.
Yeah, you never know. They could be, demons they're in all sorts of things. Geckos, chihuahuas.
They possess all sorts
Yeah.
of things.
Rock walls.
Rock walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, orange magma pouring in.
Mm-hmm.
The two lustful, I guess Stephanie thinks they're attractive blue women are shredding St. Anthony's burlap robe, trying to rip him in half as well, it seems like. Okay, they're fighting over him. It's too sexy because he goes to this gym, I guess. He's pretty cut. Once again, Albright here, he's playing with low contrast compositions, which I fucking love. Not as low contrast as his other works because there is that magma pop of orange that kind of brightens everything up.
Love it.
Brightens it up for a second. But they still kind of sit at the same value, even despite some areas being a little bit more colorful. Okay. Every nook and cranny of this composition is just, like we said, is filled with something.
Yes.
And then that color plays into that flattened perspective. So basically, all of the things in this painting, the value, the low contrast, the horror, vacuum-y compositions, create this just insane claustrophobia.
Yeah. I could keep looking for ages. There's like a lot of other shit that I can't quite make out if I just glance at it, and I'm okay with that. I don't think I need to know what's in every like nook and cranny because this is like a dark version of Lisa Frank, like dark Lisa Frank. Like it's meant to be overwhelming. Yeah, so this is a more grotesque version of all that, definitely. And I think a part of that too is the thick paint. You can tell this is like laid on thick. And just this packed composition actually reminds me of Lucian Freud a little bit, or Michelangelo's lumpy muscular figures.
Okay.
Right, because they're all shredded.
So let's place it. Let's place it on the tier maker. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, though, we asked you all for some instant feedback from these works on Instagram. So I remember, I didn't ask you all if I could share your handles, so I'm not going to do that. But I will read some of the answers that we got. Stephanie, if you want to help me out here.
Yeah.
So one answer was, "This one is giving me a headache." LOL. And totally agree.
Feel that.
We got 3 overwhelmings.
Yep. Accurate.
A certain answer said, "Definitely a maximalist."
Yes.
LOL. Another LOL.
Lol.
And then my favorite is Primordial Bosch Magic Eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's probably the best one.
Very good. Where are you going to place this? Where do you want to place this on our tier? On our tier of Les Champions, finalists. I guess we can't crown the victor yet.
Right.
Moral victory. Justy did that $500, baby. Or soggy, overcooked pasta. Okay, those are our tiers. Where is this one going for you?
It's early, but I'm feeling confident. I think it should go at the top.
You're already giving it the championship?
No, just like...
So the finalists.
The finalists,
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Finalists. It's early, but I'm feeling confident.
I feel confident.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I can place this one yet either.
Okay.
Right now, I would also, I think, be tempted to crown Ivan the champion.
No,
Okay?
I didn't say that.
No,
I
I'm
didn't say
saying this is what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm not. You're like agreeing with me. I'm like, no, I didn't say I was going to crown him. I just said he should be up there.
Okay. But also, if I'm thinking practically, if I'm really thinking about this practically, this is a black and white film with a little bit of Technicolor. I think just the painting shows up in Technicolor. So this one would be a very difficult one for those Technicolor artists.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't show up very well in a black and white movie.
That's true.
Except for those orange pops. I don't know. Especially
the low
it's pretty
contrast.
small. It's pretty small in the film, okay?
That's true.
It's pretty small. It doesn't take up much space.
A lot of people would be walking out,
Yeah.
quitting.
Well, they wouldn't even really be able to see it. So there's a lot of issues there. I could see maybe if I'm thinking practically, is this going to go into a black and white movie? It may not be the best option. But
Okay.
as far as just straight up painting,
Yeah.
I love it.
I like that.
Okay.
We're doing straight up painting because
I'm going to put it in the finalists.
We're not making a movie.
All right.
So that too.
All right.
Next up, we have Eugene Berman. Okay, Eugene Berman. With La Tentation de Saint Antoine, The Temptation of St. Anthony, or at least an ink sketch of what it might have looked like, what the actual painting may have looked like because, it's MIA.
Yeah.
Don't know where it is.
Which makes this one really easy. It's a proper failure. It's proper failure.
Well, I mean, Honestly, it's a failure. It's just like, we can't really judge it based on a study.
Yeah, if you drop your bake as you're walking it to the judgment table, okay? How's Russell Hollywood going to be able to try it out? How's Steph Furdu?
It's a proper failure.
Proper failure.
Yeah, okay, all right. It's a proper failure. All right. So actually, some of y'all agreed with us. Not enough. What is our response? Not enough. We have someone else saying, looks like someone throwing up in the corner.
It kind of does, actually.
Yeah. You know what? St. Anthony may well have thrown up in a corner.
I mean, he was pretty hungry, though.
But then, when you're hungry for so long and then you
disgusting.
eat too quick. I don't know what.
Right.
Yeah, it could happen. We also have another one. Nice, dark, definitely struggles and negative emotions going on. Ooh, love this one. It's quick, sketchy, and makes me think of Zen Buddhist monk works.
Okay.
In it. Okay, moral victory for Eugene Berman.
Moral victory.
All right.
I guess.
Okay.
I guess. I think it would have ended up in the moral victory category either way for me.
I have to agree.
Okay.
So I feel good. I feel good about our choice.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we have Leonora Carrington.
The hyena queen in the serene green landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any more rhymes than that. So.
Okay, that's fine. It's all good.
Well, okay, so compared to the other two or the 1.5 we've looked at so far, this is a much more serene, compositionally pleasing piece.
Breath of fresh air.
Fresh air. The fresh mountain air, definitely. It feels good. It's just a vast scene. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. It spills backwards, I guess, is where I'm trying to go.
Yes, it extends. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I'm getting some deja vu, though. Oh, look at this. It seems like she was inspired by this supposed Bosch painting.
Okay.
She almost certainly saw this work of Bosch in Spain at the Prado, possibly, or she may have seen it in a book, a reproduction. And if that was the case, she saw it in black and white, right? There's no way she could have not seen it. There's just too many similarities to me. And she also, we know that she loved those medieval early Renaissance pieces. And we actually talked about her love of Predellas. Predellas and the altarpieces. That was her jam.
Yep.
Was
jam
her jam.
Or jelly, her biscuit. I don't know. Which, I mean, like Bosch, Giotto's work, or just your like random Predella, you get rewarded by observing the work closely.
Yes.
Which is something we talked about in the house opposite.
Get in there.
Yeah, you have to get in there. So this took us actually a few looks, but there are little water horses galloping through the tumultuous river there. Elsie's spirit animal. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Bottom left corner.
There is a nude woman who's kind of doing a backstroke, I guess, or maybe floating.
Skinny dipping.
And it's all coming from this jug, like in the Bosch painting. But I guess the serenity of this piece should kind of clue us into the fact that it's not like, where are the devils? Where are the demons that show up in St. Anthony paintings that we've seen? You know, it is maybe a little bit too serene. Is the devil the horn dude who is pouring out the water? The guy who kind of looks like he has like ram's horns, you know, making said river for the horses and naked ladies? Is it the red-robed person with like a crow sitting on their head?
Yeah.
You know,
that
could be a bad omen there. Or is it this tiny like net woman?
Yeah,
with people going ring around the rosy around her who has the golden horn?
Yeah,
you know.
And like a little crown, but there's also some similarities to the house opposite. Like there's a little face.
Oh, in the cauldron.
In the cauldron,
right.
Yep. Get in there, listeners. Take a look. There's a little face in the cauldron.
He's like the alarm when it's getting too hot.
Hey.
Might be time to turn it down to a simmer.
In the house opposite, do you remember Aunt Trita had a gourd in her hand and it had a face,
or big old chunky piece of bread?
We never did. Yeah, I don't think we figured out what that
some
was.
Pan.
Some pan. I know, it sounds so good.
Get on that right now.
So yeah, there's a lot of similarities to the house opposite.
Right.
But let's talk about St. Anthony. Okay.
Different depiction.
Absolutely different. He's in all white because he's pure, possibly. His attire is giving me like boiled egg skin. I don't hate it either. It's very like high fashion. I'm okay with it. You know?
I see it. Yeah. Where's the yolk though?
Don't ask questions.
Okay.
Don't ask questions.
Okay.
Maybe he ate it,
Okay.
and maybe he shared it. He shared it amongst his three faces because yes, he has.
Well, they're all doing
three
ketosis, so they
faces.
they need that protein, that fat.
So there's a bald head, a big one with a beard, and then within that beard is another head which looks confused.
Yeah.
And then that little head has its own beard, and then there's another head, sleepy head.
It's a beard nesting doll scenario.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very meta.
Which is why I think
Very
you would
meta.
grow a beard in the first place. Like that's what you grow long beards for, is to cover up things like not having a jawline or having three heads.
Or snacks for later. Let's talk about some more similarities with the Bosch painting. So like we said, Bosch was kind of meta, right? And so there's the three heads being meta. Another symbol is the piggy. We got a little piggy at the feet of St. Anthony.
It's about the same size as his little toes.
Yeah. So that's another similarity to the Bosch painting that this is inspired by.
I think we can say, like, while this was inspired by that Bosch painting, probably, Elsie is definitely, like, doing her own thing here entirely. She is not adhering to any of the earlier interpretations. She's really kind of, once again, like, owning it, taking it, like, into her own world, her own magical, realist world.
Right. And that's because she's very good at mixing, like, her Celtic folklore. Her family's from Ireland, so that's very much ingrained in her. And she also combines it with her own folklore.
Right.
Like we discussed in the house opposite, she creates her own little world, but she likes to reference, like, Catholic religious iconography, but she also makes her figures androgynous. So... Again, it's very accessible to us, for sure.
She's down with the devil, She's down with witches and devils and shit. So why would she, throw them under the bus? Why are they the bad guys? Maybe what the fuck was St. Anthony doing? Maybe he was like walking into their area and disrespecting their cultural norms.
Facts. It's all about perspective and context. Absolutely.
Right.
Love that.
Let's place this one. I did forget to post this one on Instagram. I'm very sorry, Elsie. Where are we putting this one, Steph?
This is tough. This is tough. I'm torn because she knows what she's doing, and I love her work. But the feelings it makes me feel, like the serenity, and then just being like in awe and wonder. That's not what I get from St. Anthony's story.
Okay.
His biography, whatever. I want to feel the opposite of all that. While I love this painting, I don't think it was quite the assignment. I don't think she quite got there.
She took it her own way.
Which is fine.
Her own
I love
direction.
that. But for the purposes of the theme, I don't think it's quite there.
Okay.
But skills on point.
So what? Moral victory? Just needed that 500, baby. She at least did it, right? I mean, she
did it well, though.
She did it well.
She excelled, but she missed the mark only because it's not quite on theme for me.
Okay.
For me.
But we love it.
We love it.
We really like this piece.
Yes.
I'm going to put it in moral victory then.
Okay.
Hard.
This hurts me.
Yeah.
It hurts me. I don't... No me gusta.
You're tough.
Alrighty.
On to the artist I'm sure we will all love, the piece we will all love.
Salvador Dali.
That's right.
Okay. So now we have Dali's version of The Temptation of St. Anthony, and this is actually probably one of the most well-known Dali paintings.
You all know this painting, I'm sure. It's the painting with the animal parade of horses and elephants with spindly little spider legs, kind of carrying all sorts of heavy objects on of gold on their backs, like a golden naked lady on a cup of lust, I guess. A golden Venetian-like building.
Yep.
A golden obelisk.
Yep. So we're calling back to our Maria Raggi second slice, which was actually that
I'm
tower.
surprised you remember that one, Steph. You were pretty drunk during that episode.
You know what? Shh. So that tower was actually inspired... Dali was inspired by Bernini's obelisk, which was outside of the temple where that Maria Raggi piece was in Rome. Okay. So there is an obelisk in that square, which was pilfered. It's in Rome.
It's Egyptian, yeah.
It's Egyptian, yes. So Bernini built the base to that, and it's an elephant.
Yeah. Imagine like a candle holder. Bernini made a rad colonial candle holder.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
All right. And then, okay, so moving on to St. Anthony, he is depicted here totally nude.
Totes nude.
Looks like he stumbled out of like the desert after being left for dead at Burning Man. And he's just kind of holding up a DIY cross, you know? Like he's totally nude and he's hastily tied together 2 sticks to make a cross. Where did he get the thread? I don't know.
Don't ask questions.
And in typical Dali fascist. Okay.
Fascists.
A skull is positioned on the ground looking right at his phallus. Of course.
Come on,
okay?
Dali. Come on. Come on.
No. So let's rank it.
Yeah,
let's rank it.
All right, please. Thank you.
All right. Dali, he's just too much for me. I don't know. I don't like the guy. I'm sorry. I don't want to step on your grave on my way to look at your Alice Cooper hologram. Okay. I want to eat tapas like a normal person in the sun and enjoy my life. Okay, Dali.
He's overdone.
Right. He's overdone.
This is soggy pasta.
It's the definition of, I guess we're ranking it. It's the definition of soggy pasta.
Yes.
Sorry, y'all.
Not sorry.
So we don't get thrown under the bus entirely.
No, we're going to throw y'all.
Yeah, we're going to throw our listeners under the bus. Hate that I can separate artist from art. Very funny. Love that. Quote, like I feel stoned just looking at it, and it gives me that paranoia feeling before the trip. Star emoji, quote. End quote, whatever. Corky? Like Corky.
Corky.
Corky's good.
Okay.
And what book of the Bible is this from? A little investigative face.
It's not, listener.
It's not,
it is not in
sure?
the Bible.
It could be. There's a lot of books that didn't make it into the Bible that could have been a part of the Bible.
Or that were and then were taken out.
Maybe Dali in the Holy Mountain is a book of the Bible. All right, one last one. Religion, occult, human fear, patriarchal world dominance. Period.
Scary shit.
Very scary.
That is some scary shit.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. One more thing. We have another opinion.
Okay.
Real quick. So, remember Dorothea Tanning?
I do. Yes. She took up 3 months of our lives, or 2 months. I can't remember.
A lot.
Yeah.
I lost track. So, she actually had something to say about Dali in an interview in the early 2000s.
I remember this, yeah.
Quote, Dali used his silly shenanigans to get publicity, to which he was extravagantly addicted.
Yes.
He made some sublime paintings. He was a master painter, and his exhibitionist tricks didn't enhance him as a person or as an artist. It was a pity, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's very talented. He's a very talented painter.
Yeah.
Technique, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What could have been? What could have been Dali?
But what is not?
What was not, but what could have been. Sorry if y'all like Dali. We are open to hearing why you like Dali.
Yes.
For sure.
But for now, he's soggy pasta. We're moving on. Next up, we have Paul Delvaux.
Delvaux.
Okay, here's the work. I don't really know what to do with this. Okay, Delvaux was known for his topless, seemingly soulless mannequin doll-like
and
women.
skeletons. It was either nude mannequin doll women or skeletons.
True.
Sometimes both. I feel like this is the definition of someone that needed rent money scenario. Like,
I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I mean, with like Dali and Max Ernst and all these big names competing in the competition, like maybe rightfully he was just like, I'm not going to win this shit, but I need this money. Okay.
Okay.
And he just had some painting lying around. He just painted over the year that was on it. He's like, whatever year it was, 1947.
I mean, like, I don't even see St. Anthony, though. Oh, wait, there's somebody back there. Oh,
yeah, I mean, it could be that person back there, you know? But, you know, maybe he painted that in last minute.
Yeah, that's exactly
yeah,
exactly
I mean, just to hedge his bets, you know?
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
Give my money. Give me money.
Yeah, exactly. This painting is it's not even like a good example of his work.
It is not.
Because I saw this painting before I knew anything about the guy. And I was like, I'm not going to like this artist. This is not that great. Like, I mean, there's some interesting things going on. I do like the perspective going backwards. But overall, it just kind of seems flat and weird and not in like a good way where it plays with the space and makes you investigate in the space or anything like that. But I ended up really digging his work. Really digging his work. So don't let this stinker of a piece persuade you. Okay, check out his work. All right. So we're gonna rank it.
Rank. I think we gave ourselves away on this one.
We did name this particular tier specifically after this, so just needed that $500 a baby,
which was actually like $8,000.
Yes, and I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing.
Next up, we have Max Ernst. Okay, and we have a painting that a critic called nauseating. Looks like a bad boiled lobster, end quote, okay? St. Anthony has become the rock lobster.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about the work. So this has the same
skateboard.
Huh?
Oh, so go on.
Okay. This has the same overwhelming sort of busyness that Albright's had first up. But you can actually separate things out more. There are definitely more colors. There's more range in the palette. There's also more depth. So there are like bodies of water, like some lakes maybe in the background that recedes. It's not just flat and in your face the entire time.
I mean, the foreground is insanely claustrophobic, where there is just this gaggle of monsters all up in St. Anthony's personal space bubble.
This is what happens when you fuck with the rock lobster.
Kind of, right? Yeah.
I just want to talk about the invasion of his personal bubble.
Yeah.
There is a claw with talons getting into St. Anthony's nose, basically giving him a piercing. I don't know. Like it's getting in there. And that being said, there are a lot of demons doing a lot of shit to him. And they're all laughing at St. Anthony.
So just starting from like the left. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
They're laughing.
Okay. Is that how demons laugh? I don't know. Could be. Just starting on the left side here, a smaller like face is hidden. Like he's got 5 teeth hidden within a larger teethed face. A face within a face. Face within a fanged face. Face within a fanged face. Okay, anyway. Turtle twig arms. Okay, there's like a turtle twiggy arm thing happening. All right. There's like a mohawk frog. I mean, these are comical. Like they're like off-brand toys that were the same size as the Ninja Turtles in the 90s to kind of trick you into buying them, you know? The off-brand, like
the Mexican Godzilla.
Absolutely. With like eyebrows for some reason.
Oh my God, I love that. Max has made it easy to spot St. Anthony among all this chaos, though, thankfully. So he put St. Anthony in a red, orange, almost saffron-like robe, so he really stands out. And yes, this is vaguely lobster-shaped, right? And that's where the lobster comes from.
Right.
But also, I didn't mention this earlier, he's like upside down, almost like Ivan Albright's, actually. The St. Anthony's are both in the same
They do look like they're
position.
about to crack him like a lobster.
But also in the background, there is what I think looks like the cup of lust that was in Dali's as well, that sexy golden-esque lady.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't hate it.
Okay,
I don't.
This is a lot. There's a lot here.
Yeah.
Right. But honestly, it is very true to those medieval depictions of St. Anthony getting the shit beaten out of him by the demon bullies. Thankfully, no skin infected butthole
no
face.
buttholes that we can see. That we can see. Okay.
But I don't know. It's a lot for me. It's just like missing truck nuts or something. Like there's just too much going on there. It just feels like it should have truck nuts. That's what I'm trying to say. And I like Max Ernst's work.
Oh my God, I almost thought you were saying, and I like truck nuts.
And I love truck nuts.
Sue me.
Yeah, I do kind of like them.
I'm going to move on.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, time to rank Max
rank
Ernst. Okay, but not before sharing some thoughts from y'all listeners, okay? All right, so we have, quote, Nightmare at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, man.
Definitely. This is what's behind the coral in an aquarium.
Oh, my God.
Jesus. It's kind of that meta thing. It's like if you look a little too closely,
oh, God, no.
you will be rewarded with a nightmare. Right. All right, next one is simply goth.
Okay.
Which I like that.
Okay.
Because goth has some depth. It is not always black.
Okay.
And white. I don't know.
Yeah, you can be. There's pastel goths.
Oh, I think you tried to tell me about that the other day, and I was like, no.
Just learned about them. I think I'm like 10 years late on that one, but I just learned about them.
All right, and last but not least, just seems like a party.
Does seem like a party. A party.
Is anyone having fun? Yeah.
Maybe this is how lobsters feel about us. I mean, honestly. With their vision, they're looking at us. This is what happened. Look what happened to Fred over there.
Oh my gosh. Good. Okay. It really makes me sad when I see them.
We're horrible demons. Where are you ranking this one, Steph?
I was like, put him as a finalist.
A finalist, okay.
Yeah, because
I wish we had another category for just new Marcel Duchamp. Just a friend of Marcel Duchamp.
I like he knew everybody, I feel like. But for Max, for me, I love the range of colors in the palette, and the technique is like on point. It's Max Ernst.
I think, the only thing that is pushing me into leaving it in the finalist category. It's just that it does feel true to the older medieval.
Yep, that was my next point. Absolutely. Well, just like the horror of like the temptation, like definitely spot on.
Right.
Next up, we have OLG, aka Osvaldo Louis Guglielmi. So, unlike Eugene Berman, OLG's contribution has not been totally lost, but
it's been partially lost.
Yeah, so all we were able to find is this black and white, low-res reproduction.
Unless the painting was in black and white, which maybe he just wanted to mess with the Technicolor artist for some reason.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But we can't tell too much from this.
Right.
Like we can see, but the quality's just not great.
The black and white kind of lends a Twilight Zone-ness to it. Probably not intentional, but color Twilight Zone is very Daddy to Kiriko if you think about it, so that all checks out.
True.
Very cubist, also kind of medieval here, so he's blending some styles together. I think it would be a good painting if we could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely intrigued. So let's talk about it a little bit. So we have this weird, almost cartoonish woman on the right side, whose body has been remixed. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
So it's like elongated and it's like stretched in all of the wrong places or right places, depending on, where you like your buttocks to be located.
Like. Yeah.
Not gonna judge. And she
depending
has
on what your cup of lust is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proud of myself, guys.
Okay. All right. So she also has like a little Matisse flower hand. Glove, which is gloved, like her hands are gloved. Fancy.
Yeah.
So she's standing in front of a table of food. So she is part of the hallucination, right? Like sexy lady next to a feast.
Feast. Yes.
So there's also, though, this is the best part, there's a hole in her stomach.
Right. So you can see the food.
Yeah.
Right.
So he can get lusty and hungry.
Little George Costanza.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Behind her is this very cubist, very flattened, like stacked city, like I mentioned, with your Daddy to Kiriko motifs in there, like a man on a horse statue, the archways, the empty buildings. She's also very mannequin-esque, like a broken mannequin, a mannequin that was plastic and maybe was next to the heat too long.
Yeah, anyway, like that.
Yeah,
like
exactly
that.
like that. I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. Saint Anthony, he's looking lean and mean, okay? But also in anguish, right? Like kind of like LC's paintings, we have 3 faces, we have 4 faces, we probably have 5 faces, or that could be a rock. Could be more faces back there, I'm not sure. So overall, composition is very interesting, okay? If we had a better reproduction, if it was in color, I think we would be spending more time with this one.
Yeah.
But probably gonna be eliminated right here, right now. What do you say?
Yep.
Okay. So some listener answers. We have lust, ? Unobtainable, ? We have feelings of disconnected. How do you, wait.
Disconnection?
Disconnect. Okay.
Sometimes words look weird.
They look weird.
They do.
Detachment from self. I like that one, sorry. Jeebus and his out-of-body experiences. Love that. Dreamlike and Calvin Klein obsession.
Oh my God.
This is a Calvin Klein ad for sure.
Absolutely. Is it because it's black and white? I love that.
Yeah, and he's, kind of an emaciated but slim, tall man. So
very fashion.
Very Calvin Klein.
To be hungry.
All right, so we're going with moral victory.
All right.
Because I assume he took his time with this one, and it was a good painting.
Next up, we have Horace Pippin, the self-taught Horace Pippin.
This is a strange one. Pippin seems a little out of place here in this competition.
Yeah.
Not that this is a bad painting at all, but it's not to his strengths, I would say.
Okay.
And I can't really tell what is going on in it. Like there's this bearded fellow in like a feather robe on the edge of a short cliff, like a very short cliff, you know, but he's like kind of clinging on to it or lying there relaxed like a chaise lounge, however you say that. There's a pale blonde person, like Thor-ish, like fully decked out in whites, like Thor going to their wedding.
V-pale.
But with like little red earmuffs, okay?
It's Princess Leia. Princess Leia-esque, jeez.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was because I've never seen Star Trek.
It's
but
Star Wars.
Whatever, it's fine.
Oh my God.
But Stephanie showed me, and I have to agree. Yes, Princess. What's her name?
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia
Yeah.
with earmuffs. Okay. Then below the cliff is this garden of human bones.
Yeah.
They kind of look like white flowers.
Yep.
Like this is the Grim Reaper if he's a gardener, you know? And he's kind of pointing to his bone flowers. Like,
Yeah,
look at these bone flowers.
I think some of them are flowers.
Look at these bone flowers I've grown.
I also think it could be threatening.
Okay.
It's not like all peace and green serene, like, hey, this is my garden.
You think the
It's
Grim
also like,
Reaper might be threatening?
yeah. Hey.
Okay.
Hey. It's going to be you. It's going to be you. Yeah. I'm looking at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there is like a broken backed skeleton on the back of a rock there.
That being said, don't know if that is St. Anthony. I don't know if the figure in black is St. Anthony or the other two that are above the the cliffs. Don't know. But
we don't know.
I'm into that mystery, though.
Right. I mean, so formally speaking, I like the competing vertical and horizontal gradations from the craggy crags going up. They kind of split the composition directly in half, which is really nice. It gives it this like weird... It gives it these like competing directions that actually work pretty well for it. And I just like the strangeness of it. It feels like a really bad B movie, like fantasy film from like the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I would
You
hang
like
this.
that.
Yeah, I would hang this in my home. But I literally don't know what this has to do with St. Anthony.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a break from the interpretation that
Right.
I just can't. It doesn't feel like it fits in with the competition at all.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
completely not. Like totally just not. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing gives me St. Anthony. So agreed.
Sorry, Horace. We like your work a lot.
I do. We do. All right. So I think this means Horace will be a moral victory.
Some interpretations from our listeners, okay, that they chimed in with. One says, I wonder what this narrative is about. Me too. We too. One
Me too.
says, yes, with a lot of S's. I agree. This is a very cool painting. Okay.
Yep.
Ooh, they say, ooh, the simplistic lines and forms here for it after so many chaotic paintings. It is a nice break from the other works.
Yes,
I will
it
say
is.
that. Another listener says, reaching for a former self. Really like very poetic there. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
It's a good interpretation of it.
Yes. Next up, we have Abraham Rattner. Like Berman, the work was lost, so we only have this sketchy study in pen and ink wash. It's very abstract expressionist. We've got some energetic, chunky lines and like these blocks of washiness.
Okay.
Likely they would have been in bold color. We can make out like 3 rather detailed demons with wings and horns and with these goofy ass smiles.
I like their smiles. They look like they're having fun.
Yeah, but they're goofy ass.
Yeah. friendly demons. I like it. I'm just saying they're friendly.
They
that's
might
all.
be too friendly.
Okay.
That's all. So we have 2 figures in the center. One with some bazongas.
Yeah.
Okay. They have a face and an eyeball and a hand, that figure. And then the other one has like hollow eye sockets and a beard. I wonder which one is St. Anthony.
I'm going to vote the one with the bazongas. Of course. Why not?
That's part
Double
of the
trouble,
hallucination.
literally.
So even though we can't tell much from the study, I think it would have made for an interesting composition, but based on his other work,
Right.
I don't think it would have been my favorite.
Yeah, I don't think we probably would have spent too much time with this one. I do like the washiness in the background, though. The ink washes, very, very in love with those. I like how some are brown, some are more of a darker black, some are kind of gray. So there is some like movement in there. It's kind of working for Mr. Rattner. But yeah, overall, I don't know, nothing there. It's just a study. Can't do much with
Can't
it. It's
study the
disqualified.
study.
Yeah. Disqualified.
Okay. Rank. Oh no. Oh no.
What?
I'm becoming Noel.
You are.
Next, we have Stanley Spencer, another non-surrealist.
Non-surrealist.
Stanley was inspired by Renaissance painting, and he was an extremely talented painter. In this work in particular, it's very Michelangelo-esque. We've got some flexing muscular bodies, mostly all nude, but they're also like distorted and cartoon-like, which is disorienting to me, but I love that.
Yeah, I like how the neck, like this woman's neck is like disconnected from her head.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Kind of like if you look carefully, you'll be rewarded.
It's very painful
as in, like,
yoga pose there.
You'll be confused.
Yeah.
And have slight pain looking at things. So most of the bodies are of nude women, right? The hallucinations. But honestly, this looks like a giant orgy.
Of course, yeah.
But there's a couple animals thrown in.
But like a nice orgy. Not too competitive. Seems nice. I mean, there is someone getting their head pecked off. So
It's like it's slow moving. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. We've literally described everything except St. Anthony. So where is he? Where is St. Anthony?
Right. Find him within the orgy.
There he is. There he is at the bottom. He is about to be buried alive in a coffin.
Okay.
He is fully clothed. Okay. And he kind of looks like Humpty Dumpty. His head is very Humpty Dumpty. Sans halo. There is no halo. Yeah, and I really like the dress. It's like kind of a fishnet, like midi dress.
With
I like
shadows.
It. It's modest but edgy.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, the dress is really cool, and he's put all the like shadow details of the fishnet dress. I don't know where you get that back in those days, but it's there, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Yep.
Okay. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to show you all the weird Jesus paintings he did early on. But it has those same weird Jesus proportions that I love. The women look fairly boring, but along with this like egg head, his body is just kind of also like a lump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where is his chest? Where, like, his arm is just, where is his arm coming from? Where's his other arm coming from? I don't understand. He's just a blob.
So many questions.
It's weird. It's wacky. What is that wood even? Like, that wood is not wood, but it is wood. It's a wood coffin. Like, where's the hole they're supposed to bury him in? It's just so wild. It's so what's the octopus person up there? Like, Dr. Octopus up there? Like, what is going on?
No clue.
Like, disconnected butts and, like, this weird, like, stretched man next to, like, another coffin or like a sex bed. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Someone's fishing a fish out of the stream there. Someone's doing some back stretches. Like, it's wild. I love this. I love this. I love this. It's so like surrealist. It kind of out surreals the other surrealist works. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah. He's just being his weird self. And in that he, out surreals everybody else.
Like, this is how a dream would actually work, I think. Like, where things don't necessarily make sense and, like, you're just getting snippets. At least that's how I dream. Like, I just see little snippets of things.
That makes sense. It's dream logic.
Yeah. It's
like,
dream
sure. This person's getting their head pecked off over here.
Yeah.
Sure.
And at times in college when I felt like St. Anthony there.
You felt like a lump in a coffin?
Like with no bones. Just like where'd my bones go?
Help.
I hope this bed's supportive.
Help.
Help me keep my shape. I don't know about you, Steph. Rank wise, I would really like to put this one in the finalist category, if you're okay with it. I think it's a new take on the same story. Okay? It's not so disconnected from the story that it loses the plot like in LC or like in Pippin. But, it's a little bit different.
Okay. All right. Yes.
No? You can disagree with me.
Technique. I think he's a fantastic painter. Mm-hmm. Where I would expect the, like, horror from the Temptation of St. Anthony and any of the other works that have made it to the finalist, it is in a different take. So, like, I'm confused. And in that confusion, there's horror because I don't know what's going on and I don't know the answer and I'm afraid of what's going to happen next. I'm basically agreeing with you.
Okay. Okay. Put it in the finalist category.
Yeah.
Here it goes. Yeah. Drop it there.
Drop.
We got one more.
Last contestant. This is probably one of my favorites of Dorothea Tanning's. It's definitely one of her strongest for me out of Dorothea's works.
Okay.
Out of her Okay. So when it came to technique, she was also inspired by the Renaissance, especially during this time period of her work. It's very dynamic. It's an interesting composition, and it keeps me intrigued and engaged. But St. Anthony here, he looks like he's from System of a Down. What's that guy's name?
Sergio or something like that.
One of the lead singers.
Yeah.
There's no halo. His cape is turning into sexy lady bits.
Yeah, I really like his cape. I like how the gradation of color changes.
Yes. She has also made these very sexy, like, swamp monster ladies that are, like, either watching St. Anthony or they're nibbling at his arm.
Okay. Interesting you find that one sexy, but okay.
Well,
no, it's fine.
Like,
I'm learning a lot about you. The figure all the way in the back, in the sort of black shadows back there, in the inky shadows, looks like a Sorayama robot woman. It was very explicit, shiny, reflective, like robot women. I think they were like pinups. They get pretty explicit.
Yeah, I was gonna say
not safe for work.
That's.
but it reminds me of that, and that gets me to my point, whereas I feel like this one gets a little bit too sci-fi for my tastes. Like it's just like a little bit too well done. Once again, like getting back to like surrealism's kind of inclination to be too detailed.
Yes, like explain everything.
Right.
Explain everything and put it out. Like oh my God, I don't want to say it, but like Dali kind of.
A little bit Dali, yeah. I do prefer this one because it doesn't feel so stereotypical. Like it feels like Dorothea doesn't have motifs that she just constantly leans on to be wackier and wackier.
Right.
Like this makes sense to me. It is very strange. So I do like this painting quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it leaves enough room for me to really get a feeling from it, which is a problem with a lot of surrealist works, let's be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a beautiful painting.
Okay.
So where do you want to put it?
Well, the technique's there. The composition is intriguing, but I feel like at this point, and I don't know if it's just the timing because she's the last one we're discussing, I think others have done it better. So I don't think she should be a finalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moral victory?
Yeah.
All right. It's a boys club once again. Too bad Leonor Fini didn't chime in. That one would have been an interesting one.
Yeah. She didn't show up.
Right.
Didn't show up. Okay. Let's put ourselves in the judges and the director's shoes to consider what factors may have been at play for deciding the winner of the contest. So the movie was going to be projected onto a big silver screen, and Technicolor was only going to be applied to the painting for the cameo for a very short amount of time.
Just the painting.
But just the painting. Yes. However, it was still competing with the actors and the stage set, all of that shit.
Yeah.
So the painting had to make an impression, right? The temptation of St. Anthony had to be potent, right? And quick, all at once. It's also the 1940s, and nudity in films is still very conservative.
Okay.
But I imagine that if nudity showed up in a painting, that it needed to be tasteful nudity, whatever that meant in the 1940s. Don't know.
Okay, so let's just go through them again real quick. Let's eliminate them as if we were the judges, the actual judges for the movie, considering all the Hollywood executive movie things that Hollywood executives consider. Okay.
Yeah.
So Eugene Berman, Abraham Rattner. Yeah. We can't speak to them because honestly, even through the sketches, it probably would be a no. Yeah. But since we don't have any proof, like we said, nothing doing there.
Right. Also, Osvaldo Louis Guglielmi, OLG. He would have been a contender in my mind, but it's also hard to say without having seen it in color. That being said, the judges also just didn't pick it. So, speaking of no, also no to Paul Delvaux. Okay? Nude and confusing.
But weirdly, it does fit the vibe of the movie. Can we say that?
The creepiness of the lead?
Yeah.
Def.
I actually think that one might have worked well in the movie. The slow and boring movie that we tried to watch that was confusing and bad. But you're right. The nudity is probably a deal breaker. And then, the lead being such a prig and all.
Yeah.
Prig. A poser prig, because apparently he was supposed to be feisty, but he's a prig.
He's a basic prig.
Yeah, basic ass prig, as they say. I really hope that's not like a... No, it's not okay.
Okay, anyway, so, all right. So, Horace Pippin.
There's always like a little bit of fear in my mind when I'm not exactly sure like how a word has been used. It's okay.
You're going to think about it at 3 a.m. Mark my words. All right, so back to Horace Pippin, right? What happened to Horace Pippin? Exactly. Yeah. What happened there? Still don't know. I'm confused.
It's a confusing painting.
So, no.
Yeah.
So.
Now, Dali, I think is one of the easiest to read. If we're just thinking silver screen, Technicolor, on the big screen, probably one of the easiest paintings to read, okay? And I'm actually a little bit surprised that they didn't go with Dali. I think maybe having Markel Duchamp on the panel may have helped to nip that in the bud. People in surrealist circles were not liking Dali's shenanigans. But, you know, if I'm a Hollywood movie executive and I'm hyped up on cocaine, you know, and I have a long ponytail that I slick back and it sits on my three-piece suit shoulder.
Big shoulder pads.
Yeah, I probably would have gone with Dali, okay? I would have been very excited about it. I would have been very affirmative. Dali, the kids love Dali. We go with what the kids love. They're the ones buying the movie tickets. We go with the kids.
Okay.
Dali. Then I do some more cocaine and probably some sort of drink. Some Madman scenario.
Okay.
So that leaves us with Dorothea Tanning. Okay. Dorothea Tanning, I don't think would have showed up well either.
Yeah.
It's a borderline monochromatic painting.
Yeah, I think it would get lost even with Technicolor.
Even with Technicolor.
Yeah.
LC. This was one of my favorite paintings in the whole series.
This was hard.
It was a hard cut.
Yeah.
I actually think that painting would have looked great in Technicolor on the big screen.
Okay.
It doesn't help that the movie, I think, it's like we said, it's a slow, confusing, boring film. And if we're supposed to believe that this man is a scoundrel, I think the painting needed to show some more sinister aspects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. The same actually could be said for Stanley Spencer.
Okay.
Okay. It's just like a big beige mess of mayo bodies. Mucho mayonesa.
Oh, God. Okay. Mucho.
Also,
no.
That being said, it's too nude.
It's bad taste in my mouth.
Too nude and too weird.
And not immediately sinister either. Like the sinisterness is there, but I mean, you're looking at this film for you're looking at this painting for like 20 seconds. So it's far too subtle. It's far too subtle.
Ivan Albright. Low contrast, Chuck E. Cheese, wrestling, nightmare. It's too busy.
You're rolling around on the floor. You're on LSD.
It's too monochromatic.
There's candy. You got candy stuck to you. No, it wouldn't have shown up well like a lot of the other paintings we discussed here. There's not a clear figure like there is in the picture of Dorian Gray. Ivan, of course, did the picture of Dorian Gray. Yeah. It had a very clear figure there. And why would this scoundrel prig pick this painting? You know, this sort of messy, very, like we said, dark Lisa Frank painting. Doesn't really make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So now, Max Ernst
is left.
Is also complicated, okay? His take on St. Anthony is still recognizable. It doesn't completely stray from traditional painting compositional techniques. There's some depth. There's no explicit nudity. I think there's some nudity like far in the background.
The cup of lust.
Probably, yes. So it would stand out for all of the right reasons.
Yeah, and that saffron sort of orangish red is really going to pop on that black and white, right? So in a weird way, because it's definitely not the clearest painting to read, but I think on the big screen, it would probably be the clearest painting to read. Even maybe a little bit more clearer than Dali's painting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So all this being said, we, Russell and I, came to the conclusion that Max Ernst, his work would actually best fit the bill.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And yes, Max Ernst was the winner.
And we knew that. We knew that.
And
we thought we were going to outsmart it. We're like, no, we'll pick a better winner. But when you really had to make those tough decisions,
yes,
it was clear. It was a pretty clear, easy path to victory.
I rolled my eyes. I was like, ugh, like Max Ernst won historically. Of course he did. Like, but not when we go through it. He won that. I see it now. So he won historically. Cool. We see it now. We put ourselves in the shoes and whatnot. So what did he do with all that money, right? Because he won $2,500, so $3,000.
$49,000.
In today's money, yes. He bought a plot of land in Sedona, Arizona, along with Dorothea Tanning, and they built a house from scratch, which is where we began our Dorothea Tanning Second Slice episode.
Okay, but enough about, so we're pretending to be Hollywood movie executives. who do we think? Like, if we were making the shots, if we were calling the shots, maybe we're remastering the film, or we're throwing out the old scripts, we're firing all the actors, we're getting better ones, we're reimagining everything. We're probably firing the director too. Looked like it's gonna be a bad one. So we're calling the shots here, the art slice shots.
Yeah.
Okay. Max, to me, I don't think would have been the winner in my mind. I do think he sticks to the original St. Anthony depictions well.
Right.
I think overall it's a very nice painting. It is absolutely not one of Max's best works, I don't think, in my mind.
Right.
Just going off of a pure sort of painting test out of the finalists here. So I'm considering things like, which one keeps my eye the longest?
Okay.
Which one makes me bounce around the composition?
Okay.
All right. Which one do I want to go back to and explore and be like, did I just see that? Did I go, do I need to like circle back around and like check it out again?
Yeah.
I would absolutely put him behind Ivan and Stanley in those cases.
Oh.
Do you agree?
I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Okay.
But
you're going to stick with Max?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Le Beige is calling
you're
my
going
name.
You're going with the beiges. The beige ladies.
I'm leaning towards Stanley.
Interesting.
Oh, shit. I mean, there are so many hidden surprises in his, right? And this is a painting we might walk past. And actually, I think we both did when we first looked at it. We're like, what the fuck? Moving on. But you do a double take, and it's just so bizarre.
It's like a lot of naked ladies. All right, I get it. Cool.
But it's like, it's a delightful confusion. Like, it's amusing. Like, I'm in a space where it's good to be confused. I don't feel weird about it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying that Ivan's isn't a good painting. I'm going to say that. But I don't want to stare at it for too long. I'd rather take a shower.
Yeah. So when you're rolling around so you don't want to roll around on the dirty, grimy Chuck E. Cheese floor with me and the other dogs. All right.
No.
Woof woof. Let's dirty dogs. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No thanks.
I love Albright's painting. I love the way he paints. I love the way that he actively pushes you outside of the painting. He's like trying to keep you out of the painting on purpose. It's all intentional.
Yeah.
But I do think like Stanley's paintings have grown on me.
Yeah.
This entire time. Like it's been a sleeper. And every time I go back to it, Ivan, I don't want to say he doesn't feel intentional. I actually think he does feel very intentional with his work. He's very sincere.
Yes.
I do not question him like I often question surrealists, artists, because he doesn't have a manifesto.
Right.
He's not trying to be surreal. Right. He's not trying to stick to some like Freudian interpretation.
Right.
But it's fictional. It's magical realism. And I buy into his world.
Yeah.
I totally buy into his world. With Spencer... I don't know if any of this is fiction to him. Like, I think it's real. Like, there is a certainty to his work.
Yeah.
And it's not just this painting. Like, it was any painting that was not a commission.
Patrice,
so really,
we belong
like,
together.
So, like, his two most famous works, the more, like, Diego Rivera-esque works, I feel like those are not the best examples of his work. Like his Last Supper painting, where they're all playing footsie. All, like, Jesus and Judas and all the disciples are playing footsie in the middle of the table, and you're just like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this guy on?
On life.
Yeah. And then he's painting St. Anthony in a see-through net dress with like no discernible skeletal system.
Humpty Dumpty in a box, man. That's
and he's exactly. Like, there's people who are octopuses. There's people getting eaten by birds. Like, this is what Dali should have been in my mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Dali is not drugs.
No.
Stanley Spencer is drugs. Okay. He's actually drugs. He's the guy who. No. I went to school with a guy like this. He's a guy who is so burned out on LSD from high school that he's just.
Oh no, perpetual LSD state.
He's just in another plane of existence.
Oh my God.
He's just in another plane. He just sees the world differently. And every time I would talk to that guy, I was just like, I'm a little better for getting a glimpse into your artwork, for getting a glimpse into your world, because nothing about it was fake. Nothing about it was insincere.
Okay.
It was honest. It was true. It was there, and it was wonderful. And I feel like Stanley, the more I've gotten to know him, the more I feel that way about a lot of his work. So I was really surprised when you were like, you're going with Stanley.
Dude, he's like magic realist in a way. in that way.
But no, it's not, because it's not fiction.
That's true.
Well, I guess it is magic realist, because he's living his own magic in real time.
We got to get a new category for this guy. Holy shit.
That's my theory. I don't know enough about the guy, but
we don't.
You know, yeah.
You might hear him on a second slice.
Okay. Well, I guess that wraps it up. I don't really know how to wrap up a video podcast.
So,
I don't even know where to look still.
Stanley was the Art Slice winner. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm crowning him. I was getting ready to fight you.
You know what? Kind of, right? But I'm like,
I was like, she's not picking Stanley.
I would have told you I wasn't picking him either, but here we are.
But I was really surprised when you passed on Dorothea Tanning, because I know how much you love that painting.
Yeah, but when you consider all the other factors, you're like, it's going to get lost.
Yeah.
But as per usual, I'm always like, 10%
yeah,
more.
she always a little bit more. It's also we already said it. She suffers a little bit from what Dali suffers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
At
is
times.
close.
At times.
But yeah, no, you shouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
I'll see hurt though.
Yeah.
Ouchies.
It was a good one. I keep rethinking that. I'm like, should she be in the final? I still think I would have gone with Stanley though. No, I absolutely.
I feel like Elsie's on another level, like as Stanley. Stanley's the winner. Stanley just went, blah.
No, but I think Elsie and Stanley, they're both on their own sort of plane, and I like that about them.
Yes.
Both. Yeah, I just feel like she was a bad fit for the competition, sticking by the rules.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
We've already said this, so
we have.
We're just repeating ourselves.
We're just going to move on then.
Yeah.
All right,
people
listeners.
are fat. People are hitting the 15 button. 15, 15, 15. Don't do that.
Okay. All right. So now that we have discussed the works in depth and have revealed the historical winner, our winner, we would love to hear your ranking.
Right.
Not just on the 11 or 12 competitors, but also the earlier art historical examples. Okay. So yes.
We've added them all.
Max versus Michelangelo, Dali versus Schongauer, and so on and so forth.
Final boss fights.
Yeah. Which one would be in your movie, and what is your movie about? Okay? We're going to need a new tier system. You're going to need a new tier system.
Yeah, there's a link. Fill it out. We'd love to see it.
Or just tell us also in the comments.
You can This is my first wine, and it's hitting me. This is not all wine, by the way. I'm not just chugging wine.
Yeah, you're a lightweight. Tell everybody you're a lightweight. It's funny.
I'm a lightweight,
Okay,
yes.
how are we ending this?
That's
it?
This is the ending.
Okay.
Oh, thanks to Rose of Loyalty Freak Music for supplying the song, which is in French. Do you remember the name of the song?
What is it?
Something blue. The night is blue.
La bleu de la nuit.
I think
the blue of the night.
The blue of the night. Yeah,
Probably
the blue of the
French
night.
and Spanish.
Great song. Go check out their work. Go support them. And then once again, thank you for being a patron.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.